I never thought I'd be talking about Francis Ngannou again, but it seems like they're giving him a fight against Cain Velasquez, which the only reason I'm even mentioning this fight is simply because Cain Velasquez is in it. He's a legend. He's been around forever. He's a wrestler. He was absolutely dominant in his prime. I'm excited to see the man come back and fight, but did it really have to be against Francis Ngannou? I mean, it seems like everyone kind of knows how this fight's going to go. I believe Cain's like a minus 190 favorite. Ngannou's like plus 165 underdog. And it should be. I'm surprised it's not minus 500 favorite. It really just doesn't seem like a good matchup for Ngannou. I'm not sure why he accepted it, except for the fact that based on his past performances, especially against Derek Lewis. I mean, that fight against Derek Lewis absolutely exposed Francis Ngannou for being a head case. His mental game is just simply not there. He's a monster physically. He has all the power in the world. He can do anything with his hands he ever wanted to, but his mental game just isn't there. He wasn't in that fight against Derek Lewis. I think he was scared. I can't say that for sure, but it seems to be the consensus that Francis Ngannou was scared of getting knocked out against Derek Lewis, which is understandable. The Black Beast is just that. He's a beast. He's got really heavy hands. He can knock you out within a split second, but so can Ngannou. So I think that fight really shaped a lot of people's opinions on Francis Ngannou, and it's going to take him coming out, I think it's fight night on the 17th. It's going to take him coming out against Cain and absolutely dominating him, putting him on his back a couple times, knocking him out to win the fight. I mean, it's really going to take a lot to propel Francis Ngannou's name back to where it was. I mean, the UFC was ready to get behind the guy. He flaked out. He just wasn't there in his fight against Derek Lewis, and it was very obvious that he was terrified. He was terrified of getting knocked out. Maybe that's the first time he's ever faced an opponent like that who has true one-punch knockout ability. So it'll be interesting to see how this turns out. Honestly, if you ask me, I feel like Cain Velasquez, who again is just an absolute legend in the sport, he's going to come in the match. He's going to feel Francis Ngannou out. He may take a couple punches as he's faking to try to create an opening for a shot, a single leg, a double leg, whatever the case may be. But I feel like he's going to come out, feel Francis Ngannou out. Ngannou's going to wing a couple punches like he has in his past couple fights. Now, don't get me wrong, he knocked out Curtis Blaydes, and Curtis Blaydes is an absolute monster. I mean, he's a wrestler as well, but there's levels to the wrestling game, just like there is to any discipline in mixed martial arts. I mean, when you look at a wrestler like Cain and then look at a wrestler like Curtis Blaydes, there's just no comparison. The experience isn't there. And I feel like Cain's going to come out and utilize that. He wrestles with Daniel Cormier every single day, which is one of the greatest fighters of all time. His wrestling skills are unmatched. So you can imagine what their training routine is like. And for him to come out and wrestle Francis Ngannou, it's going to be a cakewalk for him, I'm afraid. I feel like he's going to Khabib him. He's going to get him down. He's going to smash him. He might submit him, but I truly feel like he's going to take him out by punches. And that's just the way I feel like a lot of people are going to say this fight is going to go. There's not a lot of upside for Francis Ngannou here. Now, there have been talks about the winner of this fight getting a title shot, but I think that's more for Cain Velasquez. I mean, the UFC really wants to market Cain Velasquez. You can tell they want to get behind him, so they want him to win this fight. They want him to move on and fight for the title. Now, there is a conflict of interest there with DC holding the title right now at heavyweight. Him and Cain Velasquez will never fight each other. They've said that publicly several times, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But I think they're wanting, even though DC pushed his retirement date back, I think they're wanting DC to be able to retire and then Cain Velasquez to be able to step up. Now, where that leaves John Jones, it doesn't seem like he's too interested in fighting for the heavyweight title. So we'll see how that turns out. But as far as Francis Ngannou versus Cain Velasquez, I think it's going to be a real simple turnout to this fight. Cain Velasquez is going to take him down. He's going to stomp him. And that's going to be the fight. I don't really see it going many other ways, and I don't really see any other options other than Francis Ngannou just catching him slipping. If he catches him once, he does have the ability to take him out with one shot. I just think Cain's too smart of a fighter and too intelligent of a wrestler to let that happen. So we'll see how it goes. I know I'm going to watch. It's going to be interesting to see what Francis Ngannou does after his last couple of performances weren't really the greatest. I know he doesn't really have Dana on his side right now. And when you've got that, when you don't have Dana on your side, life can be really hard for you, and that's been proven to be the case for quite a few fighters. I mean, look at Colby Covington. He got passed up on a title shot just because he was talking shit to Uncle Dana and thought he could kind of go up against the UFC and win. So I want to see how this turns out. I really hope Ngannou doesn't get flatlined, and because I do think he'll be released if he gets knocked out again and doesn't have a great performance, doesn't entertain the crowd. I feel like the man's going to be released, and there's not really going to be much he can do about it. But other than that, guys, thanks for tuning in. There'll be some more videos leading up to Fight Night on February 17th, but not really sure if it'll be tomorrow, the next day. Just when some news comes up, I'll touch on it. But make sure to like and subscribe, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next time.